couple years ago, I was driving my tracker home, and a control arm mount broke off. Luckily, I was only about a half mile out from my parents, and limped it back down the road, driving diagonally as the rear axle tried to fall off. Also, luckily, when it broke, I was at a stop sign. If I was actually moving, it probably would have been a bigger problem. So I tried to remove the control arm with the broken mount still attached, but the bolt was so rusted in place that I snapped a breaker bar on it. Then I gave up for a while. Coming back to this, I decided to just start cutting shit to remove the old mount, because everything that surrounded the part that rusted off of the car was too rusted to disassemble. God damn. Everything about this is going to be a pain in the ass. Oh my god. I had actually intended to sell this car before it broke, mostly because it's a rattlebox and will make a better toy for someone else than a daily driver for me. So all this is in service of finally getting rid of it. Maybe it wasn't the best choice for my only car, but the purchase was fueled by nostalgia for just a couple years earlier. For the very first Detroit Gambler 500, I was still in college in Flint. My roommate and I picked up a 5-speed two-wheel drive tracker for $375, abandoned off the highway in Ohio. We named it Paul, spray-painted it purple and gold while drunk and in the dark, and in those colors it made it through the Gambler like a champ. Later, we put slightly more effort into the paint and turned it into a pirate ship with a telescoping flagpole and a laundry basket crow's nest. We kept it until I graduated, borrowing a license plate off one of our cars whenever we took it to Taco Bell or whatever. One time we took it snowdrifting at like midnight and plowed into somebody's trash can. We mostly cleaned it up like good hoodlums. I took full ownership at some point to settle grocery debt, so it became my problem to sell before I graduated. The Craigslist ad I wrote in pirate speak found a guy who wanted it, sight unseen, to, quote, drive drunk around his property up north. So since he intended to destroy it anyway, I took it out to a friend's house for one last night of stupid fun. That's how we got this gem of a clip. That was actually the third and largest jump. It crumpled the frame enough that it pushed the radiator shroud up against the fan and stopped it spinning. We put a couple self-tapping screws through the clutch so it would spin regardless, and sold it the next day for a reduced price of $340. So I only lost $35 on that jump. Anyway, all that made me want a good one after I graduated, so I got this one with four-wheel drive for significantly more than $375. I named it Brick because it's shaped like a brick. Switching back to what's happening on screen, so far you've been watching the easy part. I took measurements from the broken mount and the intact one from the passenger side and made a slightly different replacement. It has somewhat thicker pieces because I'm using scraps rather than buying stuff to match, and it's fine because it goes under the car. No wonder this thing fell off. Luckily the other side isn't this bad, so I don't have to replace that too. Now is where the real fun begins. I used one of my least favorite tools to grind out what was left of the old mount. You know the best part about working under a car? All the metal shavings and rust flakes get directed to your clothes, hair, and eyeballs, reducing the need for sweeping up later. Now I'm gonna really hit it this time.
So let me get my head out from under there.
Last one. The old bolt shaft was still stuck, and I didn't really want to destroy the bushing just to find out if it was any easier to remove. No, this is not going to work. My dad offered to mill the bolt out, so with that job outsourced, I just cut it off the car because welding it back would be easier than any other option. Stupid problems require stupid solutions. With that part out of the way, I could put my new mount in. I held it in place with some fixturing magnets, checking its position with the opposite side. Now, under the right circumstances, I enjoy welding and fabrication. But if you make me do it under a car, I like it less.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my god. Fucking worst. I would go so far as to say most activities are made worse by doing them under a car. If only I could turn it upside down.
Holy shit.
There was one spot here where I couldn't see what I was doing, but it's still a stronger part than the original. It'll break the frame first now. My dad got the old bolt out by turning most of it to chips, so I fixtured up the control arm to go back on. There we go. This one actually has to be good. That's that. I pulled the axle back into position with the ratchet strap and used an old head bolt with a lock nut to put it back together, thus avoiding spending any money at all on this repair. As the repair is now done, here's some off-roading before I sell, in the tradition of my last tracker, Paul. Gonna miss this little turd.
Get out of the way. Alright. It work. Yeah. On today's episode of Brennan breaks the suspension again.
Let's try one more, backing up.
Hey! All right. Further. Oh yeah, there you go.
I might be able to just get out like that.
Might be. Yeah, we didn't clear anything for you?
How's that stump over here? Maybe don't stand on it.
I'm gonna be able to move, of course. I want to see where it is.
Say just last words. You know, Brendan, I might buy that thing from you after all. Watch your heads, guys.
Work. Yeah. Duck. Oh, that looks like a path.
It looked like a path. That's all she wrote. And then he rolls it when we get back to the field. Please don't roll.
Yeah, you guys are the roll bar back there.
Just put your hands up.
soggy points.
Got my new toy stuck almost immediately. I did make it further than the tractor though.